Joining us here today is a special guest, Dr. Michael Richman of the Elite Laser Vein Center and the Center for Cholesterol Management. A highly respected cardiothoracic and vascular surgeon, Dr. Richman is a noted authority on preventative care and management and was recently asked to serve as senior advisor to the U.S. Congress and sit on the Physicians' Council for Responsible Healthcare Reform. We couldn't have asked for anyone more qualified to shed light on our nation's current healthcare reform debate. Dr. Richman, it's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you for having me, Heather.
Very impressive title and all that you do here in Southern California as well. And what an honor to be asked to be the person to actually speak on behalf of the healthcare industry.
That's probably an over-exaggeration, but it's great to be able to give some insight from the standpoint of a private practice physician who actually sees patients on a daily basis.
What is the insight? I mean, can you kind of break it down in layman's terms for viewers that are hearing all about this national debate? What does it really mean for the doctor and the patient?
Well, there's so much confusion. Obviously, this bill is 1,200 pages, and I don't know if anybody's read it. I've read bits and pieces of it, and everybody's trying to add amendments to it and take away stuff. And it's basically a bill where they're trying to reform healthcare. I say they should be reforming health insurance, which is a different thing because people forget this is still the greatest healthcare system in the world, and people come here from all over. So for people to say that the English system or the Swedish system or the Canadian system is a model that we should use is absolutely false. In England, for example, if you're over 59 years old, you really can't get a coronary stent if you have a heart attack or if you have a blockage. In Canada, there's lists for everything. And in a recent article, probably about 2 weeks ago in the Vancouver Sun, it said there's a $200 million budget shortfall in Vancouver, and because of it, they have to cut down by 6,000 the number of elective neurosurgical and vascular procedures. Now, I didn't know that there were elective vascular procedures to begin with. So if you think about it, so we're going to start rationing healthcare in the United States.
Do you think that people are really grasping what this means? I mean, we're hearing, of course everyone wants healthcare and we want to provide it, but isn't it true that everyone does have healthcare already for an emergency services?
They do. I mean, first of all, anybody can show up at any hospital if it's an emergency and they won't be turned away. If you go to a private hospital and you're sick, you be stabilized and then transferred to a county hospital. But while you're at the county, you're going to get first-rate care. The problem is why people don't like it is they would rather be at a hospital like Cedars-Sinai rather than LA County because the settings are not ideal. But I can promise you, having trained at LA County and also the University of Miami, which is Jackson Memorial Hospital, another county system, care is impeccable. I would have no issues going there. So that's where it comes in. Our people don't want to go there and they don't want to use the county hospitals for the common cold. They want to be able to go to regular doctors. Mm-hmm. But if you're being reimbursed 20 cents on the dollar and you have huge overhead and huge malpractice, you can't do it. You can't financially survive.
What is the biggest problem with this?
Well, I think the biggest problem in healthcare right now is access, number one. Just like I said, people getting access to the quality and the lack of tort reform. Yesterday there was an excellent editorial in the New York Times by former Senator Bill Bradley, and he was talking about in the Reagan administration how they compromised. Everybody came together. And while I don't support universal health care in its present form, he said if we can sit down and maybe combine universal health care with tort reform and start protecting the doctors, then maybe we can have compromise. And in this bill, there is absolutely not one thing mentioned on tort reform for the doctors, nothing. And it's a scary thing because up to 25% of the costs in healthcare are for unnecessary or strictly defensive procedures because doctors have to protect themselves because you can get sued for anything, anytime, anywhere, and just by virtue of getting sued, a doctor's malpractice rises, whether you win or lose, whether it ever even goes to court.
What about the issue with security of your identity?
Yeah, I mean, my three themes are loss of choice, and I don't believe that people are going to have their choice. Now, let's say you have a company and you're providing just Aetna, let's say, and now there's a public option that is $300 cheaper per employee. Of course, being a businesswoman, you're going to change and you're going to give them the public option. Well, it's not going to be mandatory for doctors to take, so they're going to lose their doctor. May not be right away, so we can't fool ourselves about that. The second thing is lack of privacy. Now, obviously, if they're remote servers or you have a server within your office, your medical records are more safe, but there is backup, and somewhere somebody's going to have it, and if you take the public option, the government's going to be entitled to it just like they're entitled to Medicare, and I don't believe it's safe. And then the third thing is lack of excellent doctors. We're going to lose excellent doctors because nobody's going to want to train.
I mean, it's all things that we need to discuss and we're going to be looking forward to, and as we head into, this next fall area and into the end of the year, really, before a decision might be made. And it's something we'd like to check back with you as well and give us more of your insight, because it's an important issue and it's not going away.
Oh, it's a major issue. It's one of the most major issues affecting the United States in decades.
Well, Dr. Richman, thank you very much. Always a pleasure, and we'll be right back.